Black Out Loud Media Group. Welcome back to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast, the place where poetry meets conversation. I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and before we get into today's topic, make sure you hit that plus sign so you don't miss an episode. Also, please subscribe to my blog, thebrownssugarcafe.blog, and if you find any value in this episode or any other episodes, make sure you leave a heartfelt review. So with that being said, let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode. This is episode 13 of season 2. Thank you for everyone who's tuned in so far. Thank you for all the love and support that I've received. Everybody's really enjoying this season. I have guests on. Recently, I've had on Jay Dwayne of Love is a Parable. I had the Entanglement Coach, G Hightower, Val the Voice of Interludes. We had Charlie of the Mav Podcast, Shannon from the 5-Minute Convo Podcast. We had Angela from the Honey and Hustle. I mean, it's been a really great start to the season, so please catch up on any of those episodes if you haven't had an opportunity to listen to them. Also, let me know if there's any topics you would like for me to discuss. I'll probably put like a question up in my stories on Instagram, but if not, you could send me a message on one of my posts. There's also a way that you can message me on my podcast. Also, before I forget, check out my Discord. I'm going to put it in the show notes. Hit me up on Discord. That's also a good way we could have a discussion. We can maybe talk about some of your favorite episodes, maybe have a deeper look at some topics, or you could let me know what topics you want to hear. Today I want to talk about representation, what it means to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. Representation is very important. We're all individuals. We all have different things about us. We all have things that make us unique, which is cool. But in a lot of cases, when you're representing something that's bigger than you, you don't always get that freedom to rely on your individuality, if that makes any sense. Let's give an example, right? Chick-fil-A. If you love chicken sandwiches, and you're a fan of Chick-fil-A, no matter what Chick-fil-A you go to, you're going to get excellent service. The people are going to greet you with a smile. They're going to take your order with kindness. They may even suggest something if you have any questions. And when you close the transaction, they're going to say, "My pleasure." Or even when you ask, "Can I get this or extra this?" and they'll say, "My pleasure." It's an experience. Some people think those sandwiches are overpriced, and let me tell you, if you try that cauliflower sandwich, that sandwich is overpriced. I ordered it the other day, didn't even think to see how much it cost. The sandwich was almost $7. It was good, but I won't be buying it again, because if I'm paying $7 for a sandwich, I need some meat on it. That's just me. It has to be some sort of chicken on there somewhere, but sandwich is pretty good. But anyway, back to my point. It's an experience. When you go there, you know you're going to be treated with respect. You know that it's going to be pleasant. Even if you're having a bad day, they're going to smile. That's a representation of Chick-fil-A. So it's such a representation that if for some reason you were to have a bad experience with someone that works there, you would just take it as a one-off. This person must be having a bad day. Something must have happened. They must be new. Didn't have time to properly train them. Something. You will allow Chick-fil-A some grace and still come back. Some people might be so upset about they won't return, but for the most part, you'll come back. If not that one, you go to another one, right? Representation. They're being who they're represented to be. Another spot that we like to go to is Trader Joe's. Man, if you've never been to Trader Joe's, you don't have one near you, you're missing an experience. The actor that played Elvin on Cosby Show was working there, and people made fun of him. Crazy that we live in a society where people will make fun of you for having a job. These people who were making jokes obviously never been to a Trader Joe's, because I'm going to be honest, Trader Joe's looks like a fun place to work. I mean, everyone is having a good time. They're greeting you, asking you how your day went, how your day is going. If they see you kind of looking kind of lost, if you need something, they ask you if it's something you're looking for. And if it's something that you are looking for that's not on the shelf, they will go in the back and stop what they're doing to find whatever you're looking for. I remember one time I was in there and the cashier, it's this water that I like to get, the sparkling water. And it's you just have to like sparkling water to pretty much like this water. It's not like clearly Canadian or anything like that. It's like club soda with a little bit of flavor. But I was at the line and the guy asked me if I tried a particular flavor. Told him I didn't even know it was back there. And I said, I have to try that next time. Do you not know this cashier said, well, we can go get one right now. We went to the section where the sparkling water was. Now, mind you, there wasn't anybody in the line behind me. It was one of those off times when there weren't a lot of people in there. He showed me where it was, grabbed it, handed it to me. And he said, you know what? I need to get one too. He picked himself up one. We went back to the checkout. He rung me up, went outside, got in the car. I opened it up in the car. Great suggestion. Was the best thing that out of all the flavors, it's now my favorite flavor, right? The extra mile, the representation. It was another time, it's this barbecue sauce. My wife and I were in there and we picked up a Carolina Gold flavored barbecue sauce. The guy at in the line, he asked us if we ever tried the roasted garlic sriracha, I think it is. I probably butchered it, but he asked us if we tried that one, which coincidentally, my wife was looking at that one, was wondering how it tastes. He said it was really good. It's really good on some burgers. The best sauce he ever had. We got it. He said that he guaranteed that the sauce would be so good that if we didn't like it, all we had to do was come back and find him and he would give us our money back. Man, when I tell you this is some good barbecue sauce. Now, I'm not a person who really cares for like sauce whenever I'm grilling, but this flavor from this sauce is crazy. Would have never known if I didn't have a conversation. Would have never known if the cashier didn't let me know. And in some people, I've seen some YouTube videos where people try to knock Trader Joe's and say how they have stuff positioned in the store and how they have the cashiers and the other workers trying to push their items. And it's all a gimmick. But when you think about it, Trader Joe's is a store that doesn't have any popular name brand items. It's items that you don't even know about until you go in there. So I appreciate somebody suggesting the item to me and telling me this is the best, or have I tried this, or suggest this one, because it helps me understand. It helps open me up to something that I could possibly be missing. So it's that representation and that type of experience that makes Trader Joe, and aside from the food, I mean, the different items they have are so good. I mean, from the yogurt, their cuts of meat, their fruits, their vegetables. Found a box of pancake mix, which you can also use pancake mix for waffle mix. But I got a waffle maker for Christmas. Shout out to my wife. And I was like, nah, they probably don't have any pancake mix here or waffle mix. So hesitated, waited a while, went and asked the guy. He was like, sure. He showed me where it was. He showed me the different ones. He was like, this is pancake mix, but you can use this for waffles. Cool. Tried it. Outstanding waffle mix. I will be going back and buying some more. But I'm saying all that to say this. It's a representation. It's the experience that you're used to when you go to these places. These are just two examples. Chick-fil-A and Trader Joe's. It's what you get when you get there. It's the representation that is so strong. In the event that you don't have a good experience, you'll just attribute it to being that one person. So with that same thought, looking at the other side, when it comes to small businesses, the experiences you give your customers when having a small business is bigger than just your company. It's bigger than just your product. Because one of the biggest complaints people have about small businesses is customer service, the quality of service, and how they're treated. If you have an attitude problem, you don't communicate with people properly, you may need to add somebody to your team that can. or get some type of training on how to treat people. Because when you give a bad experience to somebody, it's not going to be just that small business. It's going to be, this is why I don't mess with small businesses in the first place. Because there's no accountability, there's no customer service. They're just looking for a quick dollar. They don't really care about me as a consumer. And so you have to think about that. So if you have a small business, or you're starting a small business, or if you've been in a small business for a year, how you treat people will bring more customers back to you. It's the experience. It's the representation that keeps people coming back. Same thing when we talk about religious beliefs. When you are so loud about your religious beliefs and who you believe in and who you represent, people listen to that, people hear that, and some people are waiting for you to mess up just so they can prove you out to be a hypocrite. And it's not always fair. In some instances, it is fair because some people are judging people and so judgmental because they have a particular faith. And so they wear that in such a proud way to where they look down on other people. That's not the way it should be. You shouldn't look down on anybody in any circumstance, especially if you represent a particular religion. Because all you're doing is showing them this is not something that they want to be a part of. You're not representing the way it should be. Some cases they don't know that. But if you come off all high and mighty and all holier than thou, those times when you're not at your best, which we all have those times where you're not feeling up to par, those times where you may have some personal issues, guess what, that we all have. At some point in time, we're going to have some sort of issue because we're human. And that's just a part of life. But it doesn't mean that you should freely take that out on everybody else. It's not their fault. But it doesn't give you the excuse to take it out on everybody else. But when you have those moments and you've been going around acting holier than thou, and you're this perfect person, and you have that moment or moments because you're not taking the time to address those moments you have. You're not taking the time to really adjust your problems because you're thinking, hey, I'm in this spotlight. I have everybody thinking my life is great when it's really not. I have all these private issues that I don't want nobody to know about. But guess what? After a while, they start seeping out and people can notice that something's wrong. But they're not going to say that it's you and you're just having an off day. Like I said, some people are waiting for you to mess up so they can say, and this is why I don't fool with those people. And this is why I don't associate with those people, because they're a bunch of hypocrites, because they do this and judge me when they have more drama going on in their life than I do. So you got to think about that. If you're representing, how are you representing? Because it's not really one bad apple that spoils the bunch. It's a bunch of bad batches that spoils the name of the apples. Over time, these things develop. If people are constantly meeting someone who's representing a particular belief, who's representing a particular faith, and they have that same or similar bad experience, they're not going to say it's just the person. After a while, it becomes them. So think about this when you're having your moments when you're acting out of character and you're not representing how you should. Let the people know this is me. I'm being human. I have moments where I'm not a good representation, quote unquote, but guess what? I'm human. A lot of people are struggling with things personally that they're afraid to talk about. And you may be that very person that they need to talk to, but you walk around so high and mighty and holier than thou that they can't talk to you because they don't want to feel judged. And even in the same belief, you have people who act like they're better than the other person. And so they don't have anybody to talk to, anybody to confide in, because they feel like, hey, if I say something is wrong with me, now I'm being looked at like, okay, well, where is his belief? Where is his faith? Or where is her faith? Where is her belief? She doesn't have any because she's experiencing these problems. Or what did she do? What did he do to be getting this sort of backlash? When a lot of the times, plain and simple, is it's not having anybody to talk to. So you're trying to deal with things by yourself. And then one day it all spills over until it's just running. So representation matters. I want everybody to think about that. Like, when you're representing your job, if you have one of those jobs that you love and you're gun ho for them and you're representing for them, think about how you move and how people who are watching you, like, what does that look like in their eyes? And not saying that you should people please. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But you should at least gauge, are you really walking the walk? Or are you just talking the talk while everybody's looking at you like, yeah, right? How are we showing up and how are we representing? What type of experience are you giving people? And you're trying to introduce somebody to something that you think can better them? How are you going to help them when it looks like you're more miserable than they are, just because you're not being real with yourself and you're not being real with anybody else? So think about the representation. Think about how we show up. Just being a good person in general and caring about other people. Are you being a representation of that? Are people able to see that? Like I said earlier, we all have our little moments. We all have times when we're quote unquote less than perfect. But if people know your heart and your heart is in the right place, they can figure that out. They can see, they're just having a bad day. Something's a little off. And because they know your heart, they might be the person to actually turn around and encourage you. So where is your heart at when you're doing these things? Is your heart in the right place? Or are you just doing things repetitiously because it's something to be done? But do you really believe in what you're doing? Do you really believe in how you're living your life? Is it something that you're happy about? What adjustments do you need to make? Oh, you don't know because you're around here pretending the whole time? So I want us to just remember the bigger picture. This world is bigger than us. And what goes on in our lives is bigger than us. The trials and tribulations and things that we see, the obstacles that we face, they're bigger than just us. I'm a firm believer that the things that happen to us, the situations we go through, aren't just for us. They're for somebody else, to help somebody else avoid those same paths that we've gone down, those same hurts that we felt, and those same disappointments that we've seen. That's it. How are we showing up? How are we representing? Where is our heart when we're doing these things? Before I get out of here, I just want to say thank you all again for the love and appreciation that you all have been showing me in this new season. Also, I'm on a new podcast with Charlie. It's called Past the Remote. We're talking about TV shows and movies. So that's a fun podcast. You want to check that out? I'm going to put that in the show notes as well. I'm also on another podcast. Yep. 3 podcasts so far. 3 podcasts. Another one is the Black Smoke Barbecue podcast. I'm on there. It's about 12 of us, really good fellas, man. We're just talking about barbecue and life. Just, doing what fellas do, man. Lighting up the pit, throwing a couple steaks on, and just having a good conversation in the backyard. The link to that podcast is in the show notes as well. If I've forgotten anything, I'll be sure to mention it on it. Oh, yeah. My book. I've decided to add some more poems to the book. So I'm getting that finalized and finished. Just working on some other details, but it'll be out soon. But thank you again for your time. And please share this episode with someone. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I feel like all my episodes will help somebody, but please make sure you share this one out. And until next time, remember, keep pushing forward. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Brown Sugar Cafe podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Terrence P. Elmore, and this is the place where poetry meets conversation. Hit that follow button and turn on your notifications so you won't miss an episode. Check out my blog, thebrownsugarcafe.blog. Also connect with me on Instagram at thebrownsugarcafe. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and as always, remember, keep pushing forward.